Welcome back to another video of MedalMan WICSO series. Today we've got our first idea, so start from episodes 2 and 3, and that'll be implemented during the show. So let's jump in. First off, we start in a normal area, the Black Sea. We have our Rostovadon friends finally exploring the rest of Crimea. This is very nice, because they can finally, this helps them finally take over the Sea of Azov. This, therefore, gives them power across the Black Sea. However, we don't have any city over here yet, as it is pretty new. They also begin exploring up into Ukraine, although it's pretty hard and it still gets pretty cold. And, because of that, realistically, they don't get very far into it. Meanwhile, we're on the other side of the sea, we see these light red guys coming up and meeting with Dawn explorers. Eventually, this red team, let's remember at the same time as they're like coming up here, the red team comes over here to this lake with Crimea coming up onto the other side. They also come down and make a border with the Turks. Of their main goal to explore inland along the Danube now. That's exactly what they do. They come in and begin conquering along it. Continuing along this track, we come down back to the base team, who continues exploring up into Bulgaria before they hit the Danube. With this, they continue their expansion, marching north until they reach it, and making the border along it. However, they are unable to go into Macedonia as it is way too hard to explore. Same goes with Albania trying to explore into it, and then trying to go north. However, they do find the Montenegrin and South Croat regions exploring that as well, when taking that as well. Over here, even though it's not fully found, we see the Black Sea slowly becoming more and more explored. It is believed that even though the might be in there, it is most likely just a sea, most likely following the same ideas that the Eastern Mediterranean did. Over here to the South Caucasus, they explore along the southern border of the mountains, going like this, going here, trailing behind, capturing territory. They, however, can't go much further as resources, especially from the recent split up of this area, has depleted them. Continue moving this direction, where come back to Italy. Many people from here and here are racing across to whatever's here to gain their own regions, and we see this in plenitude. The first to make a move are from the north, who come down from them and form their own nation. Right here. Make sure you have to use that color. Yeah, then. We also see one come up here near modern day San Marino. No clue why that's there. And form another nation. Right here. Okay. Down south, you have the pink team. It's like pink team exploring this region and conquering from the very south like this, although began to face issues as right here it's forming to its own nation. Which quickly begins to gain strength. As you see them essentially conquer what we call the Central Naples region. We all eventually have these explorers meeting here and realizing there is only a limited amount of land on this peninsula. And the nations here race for it. The first to make their move is up here near San Marino, who follows up here along this coast, however, is stopped by the blue team, who captures land along the south and marches over to the Adriatic. We see the red team march here with the Sam. I'm pretty sure there's like a Samnite station here, marching north and meeting them here. Now, real quick, I'm going to make these borders a lot nicer. And now this is the new map of the Italian peninsula. Also similar to over there, we see these guys still exploring the sea. However, as they explore it all, they realize there's also nothing here. The orange team continues exploration here with many other nations as they realize these two are just across from each other. We see this region, we have more and more until eventually the orange team finds Circle Island, which we call Malta. I am going to make it look a little bit more natural, but we already established a few videos prior that Malta is going to be different in this world. But yeah, we see the orange team doing that, along with continuing expansion along the Libyan coast. But in the north, meanwhile, we see the blue team finally go past the coast on the Alps. Yes, and the Monaco's all screwed up, but who cares? Until they eventually reach the Rhone River, I'm pretty sure what it's called. They keep going and eventually hit the Pyrenees, stopping there. And so they'll explore this, however, they still cannot really explore to the Alps, but can explore around it. And we see the blue team pushing over into this area to make a name for themselves. So that's kind of what every nation needs to do. Now we move over here, where we see explorers find the southern coast of Spain. This sea is found, and Carthage, since they can't find in between, begins making small port landings along this to essentially capture it. Slowly, using this tactic, they are able to capture most of this area. And continuing to explore north, finding the Valencia area. However, it's in this Valencia area where we see a new nation forming. The light green team. I think we've not made one of those yet. I have to make my back over. That's a new one. It's like Green Nation, though. Continues to find here and finds these islands. And they go over there and capture it. Also pushing here, then along the coast, and south against the orange team. We now move over here to the red team, whom is launching an invasion of the light red team. This is declared that this whole section of coast shall be theirs. They quickly push across here and swiftly take the capital, with the rest of the nation following soon after. In the peace treaty, we simply see the light red nation get wiped clean off the map, being replaced by the red team. This bolsters the red team in the region and begins to massively try to explore into the Sahara Desert, even though they still cannot do much into it. So they do the best that they can manage, just because nobody else could challenge them in the region. Literally no one else can do. Over here on this coast, they also capture this territory and this coast. Begin to push into exploring this desert and this coast. Over here, you see these states begin and pretty rapidly explore across Assyria. All three nations will race for it, the first being the green team. Then we have the light blue team go for it, however, being in the end cut off by this purple team. It goes down and meets up against the border with the green team. The Spain team, despite being small, has great ambitions of conquering the eastern Mediterranean, being very secretive with it though, as knowing, especially if the blue team found out, they would not be very happy. Whom is also trying to take the region. Already having captured all this. Now down here, we have the purple team electing a hyper expansionist into this direction. However, this direction is not a fan with everyone. And we see a group decide that they are going to go this direction. They follow down here along this coast and south along Iran. You see some of them up here believing that it is genuinely not safe to continue going. However, a group decides that that is stupid and keep going anyway, marching along here, losing many numbers to find a new land. And they do find a new lush land called India. So we're down here eventually, finding this bay and settling down onto this peninsula. And we see this nation form right here. This nation, knowing there ain't no one nearby, quickly goes out to explore. And they continuing to coast south, where it continues getting nicer and nicer. also run quite many cities. Oh, this Iranian state is only able to form one. Also, yes, I add more cities over here because there's still population ideas. With them putting their capital right there. Iran having no choice but to put it there. We also, our group, decide they might find the same good ideas if they march this way. And they do. It's very desertous. But eventually, they reach what we know as Qatar and form a nation there. Also taking the Bahrain area. This nation will build 3 cities and place their capital here on the end of the peninsula. Last thing we need to talk about is here, where we see this team invade the lime green team with this team. As we see the first alliance be formed. The Diamond Alliance. The pink team marches across the south border, with the purple team marching from the north. However, we also see the beige team jump in, winning a piece of the Central Anatolian pie. Eventually, though, the purple side is able to seize the capital, and we see a peace treaty being made, the first actual peace treaty, where we see the nation being completely evaporated. The city going to this team. I'm in the Highlands is right now, though. Let me do this. Okay, so now we have an alliances layer. And then, the last thing we see is this Samnite nation being attacked by both of these nations. Initially, this would go quite well, with the red team invading down this coast, and this team, San Marinans, invading down this coast. However, this would be foiled as this blue team, like purplish blue team, invades San Marino and the other team from the north. This completely collapses fighting efforts as they had to quickly move troops up there. However, this allows the Samnites to do an astounding victory, encircling red team troops there and massacring them. With this loss, the Samnites are able to easily push up and seize the capital. They then turn around and go after this nation, who has already lost their capital to the blue team and has surrendered. So let's see what this map looks like. And we see this nation forcing them to marry to their family, essentially turning them into what we nowadays would consider a puppet state, with the North San Marinans being completely evaporated. And well, this causes an issue for the blue team because now they have even more groups, which are more so independent from them. And this causes them to be forced to get to leave their areas out this direction, which form their own nation. I'm just going to grab this color and I would lighten it a little bit. Yeah. Actually, I might change that a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. However, the blue team does force them to go out from this territory. With them found in one city, being here, and of course, that is where their capital will have to be. That was terrible placement. But now, that is the end of this episode. Clips like this, there's a lot of major expansion from the last episode. But goodbye!